Good day, everybody, and welcome to another presentation by Mr. Kilroy on behalf of the Freedom Pages. Is Ontario's CFO Chris Wyatt above the law? That is a good question. Now, what is the CFO for those that are not firearms owner? He is the Chief Firearms Officer. He is a member of the Ontario Provincial Police. For my American viewers, he would be a member of the state police, as it were. Mr. Wyatt is notorious for making up rules as he goes along. The Firearms Act was amended, and the requirement to register non-restricted rifles and shotguns was repealed. It was ordered that all documentation be destroyed. Good old Chris Wyatt decided that we'll go back to the old system. And the old system is that it was a point of sale record of transactions. Who bought what? Well, he got slapped across the hands about that one and was told unequivocally that no, there will be no backdoor registration of firearms. Well, today I would like to bring to light the case of an Ontario shooter named Daniel Belofsky. Sorry if I butchered your name. Oddly enough, people have trouble with my name too. Chris Wyatt refused to issue Daniel an authorization to transport his firearms. Daniel went to court after he received a written refusal from Wyatt's office in 2011. On September 21st of 2012, Justice Ramez Colley of the Ontario Court of Justice instructed Chris Wyatt to issue Daniel his authorization to transport certificates. It has been almost 2 years since Justice Colley ordered Chris Wyatt to issue the paperwork. Daniel, despite repeated formal requests for Wyatt to obey both the law and Justice Colley's ruling, can't even get the Ontario Chief Firearms Officer to respond. Frustrated by Wyatt's refusal to act on the judge's order, Daniel put it to you another way. He has initiated a private prosecution, criminal law proceedings against the Ontario Chief Firearms Officer for breach of court order and for failure to produce the demanded authorization. He's also sought contempt citations against the then Ontario Minister of Safety and the Ontario Attorney General for failure to deal appropriately with Chris Wyatt. At this point in time, I'm going to make a very quick aside. In Ontario, we have a very progressive liberal government. That is, it is the Liberal Party, and they have taken a sharp turn to the metaphorical political left. As a general rule, they do not believe Canadians or people in Ontario should have guns. Guns equal bad. Gun owners equal evil. But be that as it may, the Ontario government is not above the law. And in this case, it's federal law. Constitutionally speaking, such matters that fall under the federal head of power overrule any local, that is to say, provincial provisions. So far, Daniel's attempts to force this civil servant to obey the law have failed. Daniel, through luck of luck, is back in court on Wednesday, July 2nd, 2004 at the Court of Appeal in Toronto. With any luck, he'll finally have a big enough stick to poke the CFO with. And this came again from Christopher D. Armani of the Rights and Freedom Bulletin, giving all credit to the author of this editorial. Now, to begin my own editorial, if it were left up to me, the first time that Chris Wyatt disobeyed the law would have been his last time disobeying the law. He is a member of the OPP. He has sworn an oath to obey the law. He has sworn an oath to obey them that administer the law, and that is the Crown. It is not up to this silly servant to interpret law. It is to him to obey law, no differently than you and I obey law. If you or I disobeyed a court order, we would find ourselves locked up. Yet Mr. Wyatt is quietly and merrily skipping along his way. Personally, I do not know, nor do I care how the man got to be in that position. He's on record as being anti-firearm owner. He even decides to make up rules and regulations for rifle and pistol ranges that have been in existence for years without incident, yet he does not hesitate to put further regulation upon them. In so many ways, I am flummoxed by the collective ignorance of my fellow Ontarian, fellow Canadian, who will rather blithely and rather matter-of-factly state, well, there's nothing wrong with the firearms program in Canada. After all, we license and register drivers and cars, do we not? Yeah, but we don't throw drivers and cars into prison for breaking the Highway Traffic Act. And the vast majority of the infractions of the Firearms Act are paperwork offenses. In other words, you forgot to file, did not file properly, your paperwork was lost, therefore now you're in for it. Types of infractions. Oh, you forgot the registration certificate for your pistol. And then there's the other physical offenses that we will get tripped up on, and they largely come down to the interpretation of an individual officer, i.e. that's supposed to have a trigger lock on it. Well, no, it doesn't. It's in a locked case. It's a non-restricted. It doesn't require a trigger lock as well. Doesn't matter. You're charged anyways. But see, you're a firearms owner. In the view of the government and many of your fellow citizens, you're only getting what you deserve. If you don't want to have the problems, don't be a firearms owner. That was the whole purpose of the amendments to the Firearms Act in the first place. Those amendments commonly referred to as Bill C-68. That was the whole purpose of it. And I still offer a challenge to anybody who can find it. There is a letter somewhere with John Chrétien's signature and name to the letter. It was either to a party insider or to his cabinet, I cannot remember which, where he states an absolute fear of Canadian gun owners because there are so many of us. We own so many guns, that he feared that we might rise up one time or sooner or later if the government passed a very unpopular law. I would love to get my hands on that. Thus far to date, I've had some very fruitless searches on the internet for it. This is basically an appeal to anybody who can find said document. It needs to get out to the public so that they know that the only reason the government of the day believed that only the police and military should have firearms was because he was afraid of firearms owners. Not because we were a threat to public safety. No, we pose a threat to the safety of government. And if history has taught us anything, it is the tyrant that fears the armed citizen. So I'll leave that with everybody today and wish everybody a wonderful day. It's Mr. Kilroy on behalf of the Freedom Pages. Good day, everyone.